Welcome back to another episode of the Dramatic Bible Reading Podcast. I'm your host, Bert Clemens. Well, today we'll be reading Ezekiel 4, 5, and 6. Now let's go to the reading. Ezekiel Chapter 4. Thou also, son of man, take thee a tile, and lay it before thee, and portray upon it a city, even Jerusalem, and lay siege against it, and build forts against it, and cast up a mound against it. Set camps also against it, and plant battering rams against it round about. And take thou unto thee an iron pan, and set it for a wall of iron between thee and the city. And set thy face against it, and it shall be besieged, and thou shalt lay siege against it. This shall be a sign to the house of Israel. Moreover, lie thou upon thy left side, and lay the iniquity of the house of Israel upon it. According to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon it, thou shalt bear their iniquity. For I have appointed the years of their iniquity to be unto thee a number of days, even 390 days. So shalt thou bear the iniquity of the house of Israel. And again, when thou hast accomplished this, thou shalt lie on thy right side, and shalt bear the iniquity of the house of Judah. 40 days, each day for a year, have I appointed it unto thee. And thou shalt set thy face toward the seas of Jerusalem, with thine arm uncovered, and thou shalt prophesy against it. And behold, I lay bands upon thee, and thou shalt not turn thee from one side to the other, till thou hast accomplished the days of thy siege. Take thou also unto thee wheat, and barley, and beans, and lentil, and millet, and spelt, and put them in one vessel, and make thee bread thereof, according to the number of days that thou shalt lie upon thy side, even 390 days shalt thou eat thereof. And thy food which thou shalt eat shall be by weight, 20 shekels a day. From time to time shalt thou eat it, and thou shalt drink water by measure, the 6th part of a hin. From time to time shalt thou drink. And thou shalt eat as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it in their sight with dung that cometh out of man. And Jehovah said, Even thus shall the children of Israel eat their bread unclean among the nations whither I will drive them. Then said I, Ah, Lord Jehovah, behold, my soul have not been polluted, for from my youth up even till now have I not eaten of that which dieth of itself, or is torn of beasts, neither came there abominable flesh into my mouth. Then he said unto me, See, I have given thee cow's dung for man's dung, and thou shalt prepare thy bread thereon. Moreover he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with fearfulness, and they shall drink water by measure and in dismay, that they may want bread and water, and be dismayed one with another, and pine away in their iniquity. Ezekiel Chapter 5. And thou, son of man, take thee a sharp sword, and a barber's razor shalt thou take it unto thee, and shall cause it to pass upon thy head and upon thy beard. Then take thee balances to weight, and divide the hair. A third part shalt thou burn in the fire in the midst of the city, when the days of the siege are fulfilled. And thou shalt take a third part, and smite with the sword round about it. And a third part thou shalt scatter to the wind, and I will draw out a sword after them. And thou shalt take thereof a few in number, and bind them in their skirts. And of these again shalt thou take, and cast them into the midst of the fire, and burn them in the fire. Therefrom shall the fire come forth into all the house of Israel. Thus says the Lord Jehovah, this is Jerusalem. I have set her in the midst of the nations, and countries around about her. And she have rebelled against my ordinances in doing wickedness more than the nations, and against my statutes more than the countries that are round about her. For they have rejected mine ordinances, and as for my statutes, they have not walked in them. Therefore thus says the Lord Jehovah, because ye are turbulent more than the nations that are round about you, and have not walked in my statutes, neither have kept mine ordinances, neither have done after the ordinances of the nations that are round about you. Therefore thus says the Lord Jehovah, behold, I, even I, am against thee, and I will execute judgment in the midst of thee in the sight of the nations, and will do in thee that which I have not done, and whereunto I will not do any more the like, because of all thy abominations. Therefore the fathers shall eat the sons in the midst of thee, and the sons shall eat their fathers, and I will execute judgment on thee, and the whole remnant of thee will I scatter unto all the winds. Wherefore, as I live, said the Lord Jehovah, surely because thou hast defiled my sanctuary with all thy detestable things, and with all thine abominations, therefore will I also diminish thee, neither shall my eye spare, and I also will have no pity. A third part of thee shall die with the pestilence, and with famine shall they be consumed in the midst of thee. And a third part shall fall by the sword round about thee. And a third part I will scatter unto all the winds, and will draw out a sword after them. Thus shall my anger be accomplished, and I will cause my wrath toward them to rest. And I shall be comforted, and they shall know that I, Jehovah, have spoken in my zeal, when I have accomplished my wrath upon them. Moreover, I will make thee a desolation and a reproach among the nations that are round about thee, in the sight of all that pass by. So it shall be a reproach and a taunt, an instruction and an astonishment unto the nations that are round about thee, when I shall execute judgment on thee in anger and in wrath, and in wrathful rebukes. I, Jehovah, have spoken it, when I shall send upon them the evil arrows of famine that are for destruction, which I will send to destroy you. And I will increase the famine upon you, and will break your staff of bread. And I will send upon you famine and evil beasts, and they shall bereave thee, and pestilence and blood shall pass through thee, and I will bring the sword upon thee. I, Jehovah, have spoken it. Ezekiel Chapter 6. And the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face toward the mountain of Israel, and prophesy unto them, and say, Ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord Jehovah. Thus saith the Lord Jehovah to the mountains and to the hills, to the watercourses and to the valleys. Behold, I, even I, will bring a sword upon you, and will destroy your high places, and your altars shall become desolate, and your sun images shall be broken, and I will cast down your slain men before your idols. And I will lay the dead bodies of the children of Israel before their idols, and I will scatter your bones round about your altars. In all your dwelling places the cities shall be laid waste, and the high places shall be desolate, that your altars may be laid waste and made desolate, and your idols may be broken and cease, and your sun images may be hewed down, and your works may be abolished. And the slain shall fall in the midst of you, and ye shall know that I am Jehovah. Yet will I leave a remnant, in that ye shall have some that escape the sword among the nations, when ye shall be scattered through the countries. And those of you that escape shall remember me among the nations, whither they shall be carried captive. How that I have broken with their lewd heart, which have departed from me, and with their eyes, which play the harlot after their idols. And they shall loathe themselves in their own sight for the evil which they have committed in all their abominations. And they shall know that I am Jehovah. I have not said in vain that I would do this evil unto them. Thus says the Lord Jehovah, smite with thy hand, and stamp with thy foot, and say, Alas, because of all the evil abominations of the house of Israel, for they shall fall by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence. He that is far off shall die of pestilence, and he that is near shall fall by the sword. And he that remaineth and is besieged shall die by the famine. Thus will I accomplish my wrath upon them. And ye shall know that I am Jehovah, when their slain men shall be among their idols round about their altars, upon every high hill, on all the tops of the mountains, and under their green trees, and under every thick oak, the places where they offer sweet savor to all their idols. And I will stretch out my hand upon them, and make the land desolate and waste, from the wilderness toward Diblah, throughout all their habitation, and they shall know that I am Jehovah. And that is the end of Ezekiel 4, 5, and 6. Well, that concludes another episode of the Dramatic Bible Reading Podcast. Wow. You know, saints, we need to hear about these idols. So many times we have idols in our life, and we pay no mind to what God has said about that. He will not be second. He wants to be first in our life. Tell someone about this podcast, because you know faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Lord. Until next time, I'm your host, Bert Clemens.